Many people were gathered around Jesus, eager to hear what he had to say. Among them were tax collectors, those despised by society, and individuals labeled as sinners, outcasts who had long been pushed to the margins. They drew near to him, listening intently, but not everyone was pleased. Nearby, the Pharisees and scribes, the religious leaders and teachers of the law, stood watching with critical eyes. They whispered among themselves, scoffing at the scene. "This man welcomes sinners," they said, "and even shares meals with them." To them, this was unthinkable. In response to their murmuring, Jesus began to tell them a story, a parable that would challenge their thinking and reveal something deeper about the heart of God. It was a story about a father and the two very different sons he raised. The younger son, perhaps restless or impatient with life at home, came to his father one day with a bold and shocking request. He said, "Father, give me the portion of your estate that belongs to me." In essence, he was asking for his inheritance early, as if wishing his father were already dead. Yet the father didn't argue. He divided his property between his two sons, granting the younger what he had asked for. Not long afterward, the younger son packed up all his belongings, left his family, and set out for a distant country, far from his father's house. There, with no accountability and great wealth in hand, he began living recklessly. He spent his fortune on indulgence and excess, pursuing every desire without restraint or thought for the future. But soon, the money ran out. Everything was gone. And around that same time, a severe famine spread across the land. Crops failed, food was scarce, and the once rich young man found himself in desperate need. Left with no other option, he went to one of the local citizens and begged for work. The man sent him into the fields to feed pigs, a job that no Jewish man would have taken lightly, for pigs were considered unclean. Yet this was the only work he could find. Hungry and alone, he looked at the pods the pigs were eating and longed to fill his stomach with them. But no one offered him anything, not even pig food. It was in that broken, empty moment that he came to his senses. He remembered his father's house, how even the hired workers there had more than enough food to eat. And here he was, starving to death. He decided to return, but not as a son. In his mind, he had forfeited that right. He would go back and ask to be treated like a hired servant. He began rehearsing his confession. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please let me work for you as a servant." With this speech in his heart, he rose and began the long journey home, worn, ashamed, and unsure of what awaited him. But while he was still a long distance away, his father saw him. The father had been watching the road, day after day, hoping. And when he saw the silhouette of his lost son approaching, he didn't wait. Moved with compassion, he ran down the path, arms open, and embraced him. He kissed his son tenderly, and the son began to speak. "Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father didn't let him finish. He turned to his servants and said, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger, a symbol of sonship, and sandals on his feet, and go kill the fattened calf. We are going to have a feast. Tonight we celebrate. For this son of mine was dead, and now he is alive again. He was lost, and now he is found." And so the celebration began. Music filled the house, laughter returned. What was broken had been restored. But not everyone shared in the joy. Out in the fields, the older son had been working. As he walked back toward the house and drew near, he heard music, dancing, and the sounds of a party. He called over one of the servants and asked what was happening. The servant told him, "Your brother has come home, and your father has killed the fattened calf to celebrate, because he returned safe and sound." The older brother was furious. He refused to go inside. So the father came out to him, just as he had gone out to the younger son. He pleaded with him to come and join the celebration. But the older son protested, "All these years I've served you faithfully. I've never disobeyed your commands, and yet you never even gave me a young goat so I could have a meal with my friends. But this son of yours, after wasting your money on sinful living, comes back, and you kill the fattened calf for him?" The father replied gently, "My son, you have always been with me. Everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because your brother, he was dead, and now he's alive again. He was lost, and now he's found." Jesus told this parable not only for the outcasts who were listening, but especially for the Pharisees and scribes who stood in judgment. They were like the older brother, close to the father in position, yet far from his heart. Through the story, Jesus revealed the true nature of God, a father who forgives freely, who waits patiently, who runs to embrace the broken, and who pleads with the proud to enter into joy. The younger son represents anyone who has wandered far but chooses to return. The older son represents those who believe they've earned favor but lack compassion. And the father, he is a picture of God himself, full of grace and mercy, rejoicing when what was lost is finally restored. In heaven, Jesus said, "There is more joy over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance." The story is not about reward, but restoration. Not about fairness, but forgiveness. And so the son who was dead lives again. The one who was lost is found.